Andrew, thanks for joining us. I think it's an opportunity to sort of clear up, first of all, how to pronounce your name. I think there's a lot of people sort of struggling with that. So could you just tell us how to say it properly?
Yeah, no problem. It's Omobamidele.
Thanks very much.
Omobamidele, yeah.
Right. Your career then, obviously you moved to Norwich from Leixlip, am I right in that saying that?
League slip, yeah.
Okay, there you go. Two pronunciation issues already. When you're sort of in the under 18s and 23s and stuff, is there a focus on playing like the first team? Are the sort of tactics and the style of play similar?
Yeah, definitely. I think the minute I came, it was kind of ball down on the grass and play and be confident on the ball. And obviously that's what we want to do in the first team as well. Even through the 23s, it's similar playing style. The job is to get you ready for if you were to make the step over to the first team. So when you do, you want to be ready and kind of have that style of play. So yeah, through the 18s and 23s, it's definitely similar.
Did Norwich tell you about that like before you signed? Because I know that's sort of your game. Did they tell you about that, and did that attract you before you signed?
Yeah, definitely. So before I signed, obviously you kind of do your little backgrounds on the club and stuff like that. And it's just even when I was there on trial, you kind of get the feel for the style they want you to play. And just then, once I was on trial, I knew this was the club for me.
And obviously, looking at some of the other players that have come through, and you look at Ben Godfrey's obviously now moved on, and other players, Todd Cantwell as well. They've all sort of gone out on loan. That's an experience you haven't had yet. I don't know if that's something coming up in the future, but at the start of the season, obviously you were with the under-21s in the EFL Trophy, where they obviously play against senior teams. Do you feel like, especially for a player who hasn't yet gone out on loan, do you feel like that was useful experience playing against other first teams?
Yeah, I think that the Papa John's Trophy is great for under 23s teams, under 21s teams to play against League Two, League One sides, and played Newport, Plymouth, and was it Cheltenham? Sorry, and those are great experience. You're playing against seasoned pros, and that's the kind of level you want to be at, and it gives you just that just a bit of taste of what real men's football is about.
Now, to bring it kind of closer to the start of your recent journey with the senior squad, and Preston in particular, what was that feeling like when you got the nod to say that you were going to be starting? Was it something which you felt like you were quite confident about within yourself, or maybe was it, something you're quite anxious about? How was that? How were you feeling before that?
I think it was kind of a bag of mixed emotions. I've been preparing for that moment for a while, and I knew obviously during the week we had a few injuries, so I was kind of getting myself mentally prepared for it, even though I didn't know that I would potentially play. So yeah, once I found out I got the nod, I was obviously a bit nervous there because I knew it was going to be my first step, but I was quietly confident, and I knew I was just waiting for that opportunity, and when it was given to me, then I knew I had to take it.
Just out of curiosity, how late do you find out about that? Is that like did you find out the day before, or did you find out that on the day? How soon did you know?
It's just the team's named on the day, so you find out like obviously earlier on in the day, so you have loads of time to prepare. But yeah, it's the day of the game.
Did you feel like you were going to start, or did you, from sort of intuition, were you anticipating getting involved?
I was hoping more than intuition. I was just kind of, obviously we had the injuries, and if I kind of obviously looked around the squad, and I was the only centre back through the position there. But obviously we have players that can slot in there no problem, like Tet. We have Lungi as well, so just kind of one of those, just kind of waiting and seeing. But either way, I was always just going to prepare myself mentally during the week leading up to that game.
I think it's fair to say, obviously, it's been a pretty crazy month. Obviously, I know we kind of just highlighted the Preston game there, but, looking back now, is there a specific moment you kind of look at and go like, wow, I still can't get my head over that, like as if this kind of happened?
Yeah, I think it's the Preston game, because the way football can change so fast is just crazy. Like 2-3 weeks before that, you could have just been training with the first team, getting involved in that, and then 2-3 weeks later you can get 2 injuries and you're thrown in the deep end. And as I said, I was waiting for that opportunity. I came on against Cardiff, and that just gave me a little bit like a sniff of how it is, and it kind of just made me more hungry and like worked even harder to play. So as I said, yeah, when the opportunity came, I was just ready to take it.
Yeah, so obviously since you came into the team, it's quite a rapid sort of transition, and I noticed your Twitter followers has gone up by like thousands. How are you dealing with sort of the increase in attention?
I don't really pay that much attention to social media. Obviously, you kind of notice it from the first start to maybe a second or third, but I have like good my mum and stuff around me to keep my feet on the ground and stuff like that. And it's part of the game really. And my main goal and my main focus is just to keep performing on the pitch. So I don't really take notice to kind of the social media side of things.
With players surrounding you in recent weeks in the Norwich side, specifically, I suppose, looking at Tim Krul, Grant Hanley, even really Max Aarons, experienced pros. Now, whether it's themselves or anyone else in the squad, has there been a specific player that's kind of maybe put their arm around you and helped with that transition into the first team?
Yeah, I think all of the lads are great lads. I mean, when I moved over to the dressing room, they're all welcoming. And I think the person in the dressing room, obviously I sit beside him, Ollie Skip. He's obviously young, he's not too many years older than me, but you can kind of feel that he's years beyond his age and stuff like that. And he kind of helped me ease into it, and just had the first few giggles and stuff, kind of just settled me down in the change room and stuff like that. But yeah, definitely obviously the captain, Grant Hanley, when we played the first game against Preston, after obviously I knew I was starting, before the game, just kind of give me a few pointers, just give me that bit of confidence. And it's good because when I joined, I was sitting up in a Barclays stand watching these boys play in Carrow Road. So for him to kind of just be normal conversation, it wasn't even on the game and stuff, but it just kind of calms you down that the captain's doing that before the game, and because it's such a big moment for you. But yeah, definitely all the boys, to be honest, are great lads.
Obviously, I'm assuming you'll go through like tapes and stuff. Have you already noticed in the kind of games that you've played that you've made an improvement yourself? Like obviously there'll be an area of self-development you'll be aiming for, but have you kind of been able to look at it and go like, I can see a progression that I've made since making the step up into the senior squad?
Yeah, definitely. I think even from when I joined as a 23s, the first 2-3 weeks, that transition of just the intensity, you need to know your next 5 passes before it comes to you, even in the training, because like I'm playing with the best players in the league. But yeah, definitely from the first game, you kind of start getting into your rhythm after the first, second game, positionally, like mentally and stuff like that. So yeah, I've definitely seen an improvement, but I still have a long way to go.
Love that. Yeah, just to go back to sort of players that have, I suppose, helped you along the way. It's another surname that there's a bit of difficulty with, but Josh from the under 23s, he was with you. He was with you at League Slip, wasn't he? And then you obviously came over together. How close are you from that sort of experience?
Yeah, we're close. Me and Josh, we go way back from when we played at League Slip. As you said, he lived, I think, about 10-15 minutes away from me back in Ireland, and he obviously signed for Norwich before I went on loan. Not on loan, sorry, went on trial to Norwich. So yeah, when I went on trial, they helped me a lot, obviously, because he signed and he'd been on trial before. So he helped me just settle in there. And when I signed there, we came out as scholars, went through the 18s together. Then when we went 23, so yeah, very close. And obviously, he helped me a lot when I was just starting off at the club.
But I was just going to move on to sort of maybe next season, and I know you'll be really happy with how everything's gone so far. But like I mentioned before, there's a lot of players in your sort of situation have gone on loan and have wanted that experience. Do you know what's happening next season?
To be honest, I haven't really thought about it that far along the line. I think right now I'm just kind of concentrated on giving my best if I get the opportunity to play, and just kind of taking it game by game, and just literally if I get the opportunity, just try and make the most of it.
Would that be something you'd be interested in alone?
We'll see what happens near the end of the season. We still need to get it over the line. We have, I think, 4 or 5 games left, so that'll probably be a conversation closer to when the season ends.
Now, again, as of recording this, Norwich are yet to get over the line, but should Norwich get promoted, which we all hope so, from a personal standpoint, you're a young lad. I'm sure you're like ourselves in a position where it is still very much a dream, isn't it? And going, if you were to play in the Premier League next year, are there any teams or players that you're kind of sitting there like, oh, I can't wait for that matchup? Is there any players or teams that stick out for you?
Oh yeah, definitely. All the Premier League teams and all the Premier League players, if that was ever a possibility for me to play next season there, you grow up watching all these teams and all those players. So even just potentially being involved in that, it's just, I think I can't really name one. It doesn't really matter if it's the bottom of the half Prem or the top. I think just everything together would be crazy.
Amazing.
Is there a lot of coverage of English football in Ireland, like when you're growing up?
Yeah, football was massive. Where I grew up, all over Ireland. Obviously, there's Gaelic football and there's hurling, but I think football is becoming the number one thing now. And yeah, just growing up, like literally everyone, every young boy in Ireland and young girl wants to be a professional footballer now.
I know a game we haven't covered yet, but I've got a stat which I hope you've heard, because if not, it's probably wrong. But to my knowledge, you hold the record for the best ever home debut of any Norwich player with your 7-0 win versus Huddersfield, which is a piece of history I don't know if you did know before that. What was it like to play in that game? Now, because obviously for you, it's your main aim obviously is to stop them scoring, which you did. But what is that like to play in a 7-0 game in the Championship?
Yeah, it was great, and credit to the boys all over the park, because boys like Emi Buendia, Todd Cantwell's, Kenny's, they make it kind of easier for us boys at the back if they're doing all the magic up top. But yeah, in games like that, especially for us defenders, if you're winning 4-5-0 up at halftime, the focus there is just to not concede, because you don't want to concede, even if it's a consolation goal, just for your pride and just for obviously other kind of reasons, goal differences and stuff like that. But yeah, that was the mentality going into the second half. We just wanted to stay concentrated, and it was another learning curve for me. Obviously, we won 7-0, but it was another obviously learning curve for me, because maybe in 23's games I wouldn't have to be that switched on, even though we're winning 6-7-0. And even like last minute stuff with like throw-ins and stuff, maybe I can be like a bit more inside. But because I think it's 7-0, I'm still kind of showing for the ball. I still want to play and stuff like that, if that kind of makes sense. So yeah, it was just it was a great experience all around.
I suppose as well, we saw infamously, if you like, at the end of that game, the Sky cameras panned over to you at full time with Daniel Farker. What has he been like for you, kind of in that transition? Obviously, just to name a few names like Max Aarons, Todd Cantwell, obviously Ben Godfrey and Jamal Lewis, who left us in the summer. Obviously, players to come through under Daniel Farker, but what kind of impact has he had on you? Has he really been a difference maker for you in the recent weeks?
Yeah, definitely. I think even when I first came, it was kind of just settling kind of straight away helps a lot with that. And you just know what you get with him. Like if you give 100% and you dedicate yourself to him and the training and all of that, he'll give you an opportunity. But yeah, he's been a massive impact in the early stages of my senior team.
Just wanted to ask about the sort of the element of playing behind closed doors. Obviously, you won't have played properly in front of Norwich fans for the senior team yet. Do you feel like, I mean, obviously we all want fans to return, but does it decrease the pressure for a young player like you coming in for the first time?
Yeah, I definitely think I'll definitely just can't wait for the fans to get back in. Hopefully, maybe by the end of the season. I don't know how the situation is going to plan out, but as you said, yeah, I think it's good and bad in a sense, because maybe in your first game full of fans, an away game, kind of just adds that bit more pressure. But without the fans, maybe you can kind of be more focused on it. But well, yeah, the 7-0 against Huddersfield would have been great with a full Carrow Road Stadium.
We did the last one with Darren Huckabee and asked him to pick a five-a-side team of sort of all-time Norwich players. I know you've probably not played with quite as many as Hucks has up to this point, but if you had to pick one, I suppose from the squad at the moment, who would you pick?
Five-a-side team. In nets, I'll have Tim Krul, obviously.
You can pick yourself. Don't be scared to pick yourself. That's what Hucks did.
Just trying to think of formation here. I'll have Grant Hanley, the Rock at the back.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, definitely. Um, this is actually a tough one. I'll go
Got a
for
couple of mids.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for Kenny McLean.
Oh, worker, engine.
Definitely. I'm gonna go from the top now. Say Timo.
Yeah,
Will score goal machine.
he'd be bagging goals in five-a-side, wouldn't he?
How many do I have there? 1, 2, 3, 4. Just one more, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll put Joshua Martin in there.
Oh,
Bit of
Josh Martin.
there and there, yeah.
Oh, mate, that's
Are
brilliant.
you two good mates?
Oh yeah, when he joined from Arsenal, we were playing 18s for a bit, and then we went to 23s, and he obviously went up to the first team before me. But yeah, we've been mates since on the 18s. He's probably one of my closest friends up there in the senior squad now.
Amazing.
I can't believe you haven't included Buendia. That's going to be the headline. Omobamidele wouldn't have Buendia in his five team.
No, that is shocking.
The five-side team there is still quality.
If you turn up to goals with that, I'd probably walk off the pitch. So yeah.